Rockin' Royal, rockin' Navy, know y'all with me, let's get it, baby, Rockin' Royal, rockin' Navy, know you with me, let's get it, baby. Boys just came back from their mission, we going crazy. Kalani, you got no problems, you could call him Jay-Z. Best fans up in the nation since the 1980s.
Welcome back to another episode of the Rockin' Royal podcast on KSL.com, your source for all things BYU sports, BYU athletics, from football to basketball to the soccer pitch that's starting up soon, women's volleyball. We got you covered, and we've got you covered during fall camp as BYU turns the page on week 1 of fall training camp. Training camp is what we're going to call it around these parts. Nothing fall about it. Have you guys been outside recently? It's still August. It's still 100 degrees. But the Cougs are working hard out there trying to get ready for the 2025 fall season. So no fall camp around these parts. It's all training camp, guys. It's all training camp. I'm your host, Sean Walker. And I'm going to bring you a little bit of a kind of a defensive preamble, if you will, right now. I know what you guys want to hear. Everybody wants to know about the quarterbacks. I've written about it. All of my colleagues and cohorts in the Utah media and the BYU media pool have written about it as well. You've got 3 quarterbacks right now trying to whittle it down to 1 full-time starter. McKay Hillstead, Trayson Bourget, the incumbents, and then obviously 4-star freshman Bear Bachmeier, who has been really good through the first couple sessions of training camp, guys. I will say one thing here. I do think it's a legitimate competition, and I think that legitimate competition is between all 4 players. Multiple coaches have made it very apparent to us that Bear Bachmeier, just because he's a true freshman, is not going to get left out of this competition. He is being given every chance to win the starting job from the 2 incumbents, which can be good and also maybe a little off-putting, but I think it's probably a good thing for McKay Hillstead and Trayson Bourget as well. McKay's had some really nice moments in practice. Trayson's been a little bit up and down, but his highs have been really good. He's also had a couple lows from what we've seen in the media pool. So he's been maybe a little bit more of that up and down quarterback. Bear Bachmeier, yes, he's had some freshman moments. He hasn't been perfect. He threw an interception during one of our media viewing portions, which interceptions and touchdowns don't really matter. Pads aren't even on yet. People don't read too much into it. Bear Bachmeier has occasionally looked like a little bit of a freshman, but he's also had times when he's very much looked like an extremely talented, high-caliber quarterback, which he is. He's a former 4-star recruit, committed to Stanford, went through spring drills with the Cardinal, and then when they made their coaching change after Troy Taylor was fired, he hopped in the portal and made it over to BYU with his older brother, Tiger Bachmeier. Best all-name duo on the team right now, Bear and Tiger Bachmeier, by the way. I will hear no other arguments. All 3 of them given equal reps, tons of opportunities to seize this starting job, and I expect this to last probably a little bit longer, at least well into the second week. I don't think coaches are necessarily in a hurry to name a starting quarterback. I also don't think they're going to drag this out all the way until like the season opener, August 30th. Against Portland State. I think there will be a proclaimed and a known starter by then. It will happen, even if it just sort of happens. I don't think anybody wants to drag it out that long, though. So do I think it's going to be a competition that gets resolved immediately? Not necessarily. But do I think it's going to go all the way into the end of the month? Probably not. All 3 quarterbacks are working really hard. Again, if Bear Bachmeier, even though he's a true freshman, really does show that he's the guy, I think coaches aren't going to be afraid to call him the guy. And then the other 2, obviously McKay and Trayson, both have Division I starting experience. You have to feel at least somewhat comfortable with that, right? From their time at Utah State and Western Michigan, respectively. So that's all I'll say about that right now. About the quarterbacks, we'll get a little bit more info maybe this week as camp progresses. And I'm also going to keep my eye on this BYU defense, because I think this BYU defense is getting a little bit slept on, a little bit underrated. Obviously, we've talked about the linebackers. The linebacker core is going to be really good. Isaiah Glasker just got named to another All Big 12 preseason team. Jack Kelly, I think, is getting enormously slept on right now as a pass rusher. I think Tausili Akana, the new edge rusher, outside linebacker / defensive end, he's been playing sort of a little bit of both depending on the scheme and the formation. Right now, I think he can be really good. I think Siale Asera, if he stays healthy, is another extreme bright spot there. The question mark right now, or the biggest question mark, I should say, around this BYU defense is on that defensive line. And I say question mark because I don't necessarily know if it's a bad thing. It's just new. It's all new. This is a group that lost a ton of talent up front. Tyler Batty, who's currently in camp with the Minnesota Vikings, on the edge, and then on the other side, Isaiah Bagna, who is up north in the CFL, I think with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I'm trying to go off of my head. I know he's playing in the CFL right now, so two professionals right there. They lost John Nelson and Blake Mangelson, their two interior tackles as well, and they are loading up from the portal to try to stay old at that position. Keanu Tanavasa, the Utah transfer, with a long history with head coach Kalani Sitake, he's pretty well known. Caused a little bit of an uproar on social media if you follow such things. I don't really want to get into that too much right now. He's going to be a monster, though. He's already been a monster through the first couple days of camp. I mentioned Tausi Liakana, the defensive end / edge rusher in there. He's going to be pretty good. BYU also went to the portal for 5 Division I transfers along that defensive line. Keanu Tanavasa is the most well-known, obviously, but you've got Anisi Parcell, the 305-pounder out of Southern Utah. You've got Justin Kirkland, the 340-pounder out of Oklahoma State and Utah Tech, coming home. He's a West Haven native. Alvin Pafua also coming home after a year at Hawaii. And then Kafosi Pafoke. All of these 300 pounds and more on the interior of that line. Keanu Tanavasa, by the way, not a small man, the smallest of that group at 300 even. Justin Kirkland, 340 pounds. Kafusi is also 345 pounds. You've got some meat, some absolute meat on the interior of that defensive line. If it progressive sinks and gels together, like I'm sure coaches, these BYU coaches are hoping for, this could be a really good line. But it's a question mark right now. We just simply don't know. Things have looked pretty good through practice. Justin Kirkland's been a little bit limited in there. Coaches aren't really that concerned about it, but he came into camp a little bit banged up. He's also a guy that he's going to be a senior, so how much work do you really give your upperclassmen coming into fall camp? It's kind of a developmental time. You can probably afford to take him a little bit slow. He also recently just had a final in finance, one of his finance classes at BYU. Look, guys, I realize these are student athletes, as the NCAA likes to use those terms. I realize these kids are going to class. I applaud them. Many of them are much smarter college students than me. But taking finance in summer, oh man, that's brutal. If anybody wants to hit up Justin Kirkland for some tips on how to survive some of those BYU finance courses, Justin.Kirkland1 on Instagram. Go slide into those DMs and give him a little bit of help there. Just help. I'm saying help. We don't want a North Carolina situation now. So go give him a little bit of help. But on that note, I think this defensive line has the potential to be pretty good. I also think it has the potential to maybe not sync together. We shall see. A lot of question marks. But I like the upside of this unit. And that's why towards the end of the week, I stopped by after practice and I talked with defensive tackles coach Sione Po'uha, as well as the aforementioned Justin Kirkland, to get a little bit about Kirkland's journey from West Haven to St. George to Stillwater, Oklahoma, and now back to Provo. Yes, we did talk about his relationship with former Roy High teammate Parker Kingston. Was it tampering? I think you're going to be surprised by the answer that JK gave. And then I also talked with Po'uha about Justin and the rest of that interior defensive line unit. And we will play them right here on this latest episode of the KSL.com Rock and Royal podcast.
It's every year is different, right, with the roster that you have and the personnel that you have to work with. The great thing is we didn't have to work on that right now, right? We worked on building it ever since January, and having, getting the character and the chemistry between the guys, getting them familiar with the playbook. Obviously, it's great to have them ever since January. Excuse me. It's great. Yeah. It's great to have them since January. We don't have to worry about now. So it's been in motion as we go in there, as we get to this point, right? we're solidifying it as the Bullets start to get a little bit more live as we go now. And so now it's helping them to know how to perform under those circumstances of, hey, you know, it's kind of the real deal happening now. So, but the progression, you know, happens in January, and you build a room, and you build a room in terms of forming the chemistry and the familiarity with the defense. And most importantly, as you get all that together, it's really the confidence of the group that you want to go out there. And so we've had some time to be able to work with them. Granted, we do have some new guys where the Bullets are getting live, and they've never been under these circumstances. But then again, you coach that as well, right? And you counterbalance them with the experience in the group and coaching them along as well.
I was going to save that for a little bit later, but since you brought it up right there, how big is this era of college football where you don't just have one training camp anymore? I mean, when you and I were young bucks, it feels like there was a day where it was like, okay, December comes, you're done with your bowl game.
Yeah, you're right. We'll see you later.
All right, we'll see you guys in the summer, right?
Yeah.
Now you don't really have that. It's a lot more year round. It's almost NFL-like in some ways with OTAs and that sort of thing. To have that spring competition, can you feel it kind of blending one into the other?
Yeah, well, I feel it like I think it's just being a little bit more efficient with your ability of training, right? Back in the day when, you know, it was kind of like you had to get everything, all that one, whether it was a spring ball or you had fall camp, right? You just had to get it in there. Whereas now you've got different ways that guys can get themselves better. You have PRPs and all those things. And so I kind of compare it to a car, right? Instead of taking it to Jiffy Lube, you know, once or twice a year like we used to go, now you take it like every 3 months and you got a well-oiled machine. So just the guys being able to stay fresh, be efficient, continue to, and you also got to be careful too because of all the time that they can spend together and they could work out, right? Sometimes that's a detriment. You don't want to overload them. So you want to load them correctly in different phases. And, a lot doesn't always mean gains, right? So, it's really understanding what the landscape of the 12 months it looks like and then where you can put in the intervals of improvement for your players.
I did want to ask you about one of the new guys there on that defensive line in Justin Kirkland. I covered him a little bit in high school. He was actually boys with another recruit I was covering. The guy that you know, PK, Parker Kingston.
Yeah.
They were boys back in high school at Overall High. And just what have you seen out of him since he's gotten on campus? And I'll be totally honest, he wasn't necessarily a guy that I thought would wind up coming to BYU just for a lot of various reasons. Some football, some not so much. He kind of seemed like a guy who wanted to go out and explore the world. Right. I guess he did that in Stillwater for a couple of years. So what have you kind of seen out of him as he comes back?
Man, just a great leader in his own sense, right? Great leaders to me isn't really someone who's the, you know, we have the typical standards of what a leader are, right? A leader to me is someone who's just really just engulfed who they are and been able to influence other people by being their best self, right? So for him, I mean, right, super comical guy, super happy, super jovial, right? Yeah, and so we need that, right? Because we're gonna face some weathers, whether it be the 14th day of camp, there's gonna be mistakes, there's gonna be overhauls and lows like that, but just his spirit, his energy helps him to be the leader in our room that we need, not only in our room but also in the defensive room. One thing I love about it that you'll notice too is like all his alohas that he has. He served a mission in Hawaii, and so just his character, his ability to come in and just be who he is and be comfortable, especially in a new setting, is just super awesome for us as a team and as a group and as D tackles.
I mentioned him and PK were had a pretty tight connection. They were boys back in high school, and they've stuck together since then. It's been really funny watching them. I remember he actually came up here and he played when he was at Utah Tech. He played
Yeah.
And I saw him and PK kind of reconnect there, and it feels like they've reconnected every year since. When he popped up in the portal, did you feel like you had a little bit of an insider to be like, hey, Parker, go get him, go recruit him kind of thing?
Yeah, when he got in the portal, obviously you see someone of that magnitude in there, right? But at the same time, you see that you got everybody else that sees him in the portal and is going to go in there and get him. And so just our ability to bring him here. Obviously, PK probably called over there to him after he got into the portal, and obviously there's there's those elements.
Nice to have a guy on the inside, right?
Yeah, there's always those elements. But I think, with him and Marley, their biggest reason for coming here is, what they experienced, what they saw was best for them, and their future as they come across here. I think for them it was good also to be home. I know that was one of the things on their visit that they mentioned is the ability to be at home. And so I know, when he went in the portal, I mean, everybody was going after him, and just a great body. And we were fortunate that he wanted to pick BYU.
What's the? I know it's first official day of training camp, so
Yeah.
probably shouldn't ask this, but what kind of the number one thing keeping you up at night with that interior D-line?
I think for me,
it's
the number one thing, like, as you get the first day, right, you want to see where their confidence is at. Basically, the first day, right, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, right, and helping them to turn that around and help them to learn and go from it and to be able to build their confidence. I mean, that's the biggest thing for me, and I think for all teams is on August 30th when we walk on that field, you want every single guy that's wearing a hat and helmet to feel as confident as ever. And so, that's a universal thing. It seems like a simple answer, but it's quite powerful. And so I've seen some guys, that you made a mistake, and they think we played today, right? They think we played tomorrow or this weekend.
Yeah.
And
this is a game weekend.
Yeah. But then you remind them about the process and about transforming themselves, and that by the end of camp they'll be happy, and that this stage is important for them.
Sure.
To be able to make mistakes and to be able to see the improvements that they need to make. So, moving on forward, I think it's always going to be a thing is always build the confidence, whether it's now, whether it's in the middle of October, or whether it's, post-play, is making sure that our guys become super confident in who they are, what we play, and how we play it.
Sure. First day of fall training camp for you at BYU. You're experienced at it in Division I football, but how did it go today, and just how do you feel about this team?
I think everything went really good today. First day jitters, everybody's a little amped up, figuring out the plays and all that. But for the most part, everybody did a really good job, knew where they were going, knew what they had to do. And it was just good to finally get out with the boys, strap it up and get after it.
Sure. I know there's only so much you can do right now as you acclimate, heat acclimatization, pads, like you're slowly putting on pads, that kind of thing. But what's sort of the number one thing you guys are focused on right now in the D-tackle room and on the defensive line as you ramp up into training camp?
I think it doesn't really matter where you go, stuff like that. It's always trying to improve, get 1% better every day. And so I think right now, this week especially, this emphasis is be intentional about everything we do, whether it's, film study, learn the things, learn the plays inside and out, whether it's get your 8 hours of sleep and really dedicate yourself to taking care of your body, stuff like that. So it's really, like I said, just 1% better every day.
I wasn't going to go here, but you mentioned it, and you're like the fourth person this offseason to make sure you get those 8 hours of sleep. Is that a big emphasis with this coaching staff or in this room about, like, making sure you're doing the other things outside of training, nutrition, and sleep schedules? And
Yeah, especially nutrition. Dan takes care of us. He's fantastic. They got snacks, healthy stuff. I'm not really a big health guy. I'm more into Oreos. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they got the good beef jerky, the bananas, all that. So that's really good. And then the 8 hours. I mean, that's a necessity of life. So truthfully, it should be 9 or 10 if you can get it in. So I mean, that's what I shoot for, whether I get it or not. But it's the basics of taking care of yourself and being a high caliber athlete. Yeah, they're on us all the time.
Yeah. 9 or 10 hours of sleep while you're also trying to juggle, like going to class.
Exactly.
Homework and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I've got a final this Friday. We got fall camp this week. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you gotta love it. This is what I signed up for, and so I'm just I'm excited to juggle it, go through it. This fall camp number 4. So yeah, it's a good time.
You got a final this Friday, so you've been in summer classes.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So we all are in summer classes. And then my final. I got finance this week. So finance on Friday. If anybody's got any tips, man, you know what I'm saying? Let me know.
Time off. Slide into his DMs on Instagram.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah.
Remind me your handle real quick.
Justin.Kirkland1.
Justin.Kirkland1. If you got any finance tips,
let me know. Please let me know.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about this team because I think your story is pretty cool. You're a local kid, grew up in West Haven, went to Roy High School, star out there. The defensive side of what Parker Kingston was offensively.
Yes, sir. Yep.
I like to say, right? And then you took a little bit of a circular path to BYU in some ways. I'm not going to lie. You always seem kind of like a kid that sort of wanted to go out and explore, maybe get away from town and sort of see what was out there.
For sure, yeah.
What brought you, I guess, kind of back to BYU after you went to Utah Tech, I believe, for a
Yes,
year?
sir. Yep.
And then you played 2 seasons at Oklahoma State. What kind of brought you back home?
So out of high school, obviously I was trying to get recruited, and I mean every story has, I just kind of put it in God's hands and let Him take me where He wants to take me, So high school, I was deciding if I want to go on a mission or play football. Ended up wanting to go on a mission. So right before signing day happened, Utah Tech, Coach Lonnie Fangupo hit me up. We went out there, had a super fun year, learned a lot of stuff. And then after that, it was like he was going to a new school, and I was like, oh man, what situation am I in? I think my wife and I were figuring out how we were gonna live in a trailer park down there. Like we were gonna make it happen. But then we decided to get in the portal. Got hooked up with Oklahoma State out there, and loved Stillwater, loved Oklahoma, everything about that place, and spent 2 fantastic years out there. And then kind of this last transfer portal. I've obviously buddies with Parker Kingston. I've played BYU for 3 years now, whether it was at Utah Tech or Oklahoma State. And so I knew a lot of these guys, and obviously that opportunity was there, and I was kind of texting them because obviously they went 11-2, and then it was a struggle for friends and family to get out there. Stillwater is a fantastic place, but it's hard to get into. You either land Oklahoma City or Tulsa. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Either way, it's an hour drive in.
But it's a tough drive.
Yeah, and so it was kind of a more difficult place to get in unless you're being real intentional to get out there. And so I was like, man, it's my senior year. I want to come home, play in front of friends and family, So that's really what kind of brought us back to BYU. And I mean, talking out there with those guys, I mean, kudos to those guys. Like, they really had my best interest. And they were like, yeah, man, go Cougs, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So, yeah.
When you made your announcement, you were entering the portal, you were going to transfer for your final year.
Yes, sir.
Did PK slide into your DMs first?
Or dude, yeah, that dude was tampering the whole time. I'm just playing. But, yeah, obviously me and PK, we're pretty good buddies. And so we've been, figuring it out how to make it happen. He was either going to go out there or I was going to come out here. So, obviously, I came back out here. So, yeah, so me and PK were good buddies. And then I obviously posted that, and he was like, come home, man. Welcome back, all that. So, yeah, it's good to be back and share the same locker room again.
Playing a little game of chicken over who was going to punch you.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. He ended up winning, man.
You've mentioned a couple of times your wife. You met your wife before, and she's been with you on this whole journey from Utah Tech, Oklahoma State.
Yep.
Now back to BYU. And everything. How big of a role, because you did mention coming back home to play closer to friends and family, and your wife's also from the area. How big of a role did she kind of play in your decision to come to BYU?
Yeah, something about my wife, I mean, she just wants our best interest, and I mean, she's the rock, you know what I'm saying? So I just chase a ball for a living. She's the one who's like, yeah, well, we should think about this, we think about that, Obviously, we were excited. It's a great opportunity. You ask her, though. She loves Oklahoma just as much as I do. And so, like I said, we were really blessed out there. Just be able to come back, though, friends and family, because we haven't seen some of those guys in 2 years. You know what I'm saying? And so keeping those relationships alive, and obviously they're all excited, too. I'm like, yes, going to the games, So, yeah, it's been huge. She takes care of me, all the above, make sure, because obviously football takes all this time. So she crosses all the T's, dots all the I's at home. And, yeah, she's fantastic. Yeah.
Well, you fit a really nice role on this BYU team, a team that lost a lot to graduation, of current pros, I guess, now currently on that defensive line. Coaches don't like to use words like rebuilding and reload, and sometimes they don't even like reloading. They like to use words like opportunity.
For sure, yeah.
What kind of an opportunity do you feel like is in front of you on that defensive line?
I feel like everything is in front of us as a D-line, as a defense, as a whole team. And just have that opportunity is fantastic. I love when you're put in a position where all you have to do is go take it. No one else is holding it from you or keeping it from you. All you got to do is put in the work, effort, which this team is doing, and just go take it. And so to come in as a D-line, all these guys are fantastic, phenomenal. I mean, they know their stuff, very technically sound, effort is phenomenal, and then just high morale. I mean, I've been around guys who think the world sucks and it's sad, and these guys are happy and yelling and hooting and hollering at 6 a.m. I'm like, dude, what are you? We're about to go run. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, just being an atmosphere.
Didn't even have coffee.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's just shotgunning a monster or something. But, yeah, so to come in here and everybody's just, genuinely morale, rooting for each other, cheering for each other, but still being aggressively competitive, it's just a fantastic place to be.
On the field, football-wise, I don't want to get too much into X's and O's and semantics.
But how do you feel like you fit into this D line with what you played at Utah Tech and Oklahoma State, and kind of what the scheme is like here? How do you feel like you fit?
For sure. So I think I've been really blessed. I've had a different coach every single year I've played college football, defensive line coaches, yeah. And so I've had coaches who are more on like a schematical side, X's and O's. I've had coaches who are more on the effort side, coaches who are like a player's coach, care for you, stuff like that. And so to be able to come here and Coach Po'uha, I mean, he's the best. But then fit in with this D-line, have these fantastic linebackers behind us, fantastic dudes surrounding us. I mean, I've been on a lot of teams where it's like you almost got to do 1.5 of your 11. You know what I'm saying? But here it's like, I just got to worry about me because I know the guy next to me is going to get his done. And I mean, it frees me up, frees them up. And then when you can count on each other like that, it's a beautiful thing.
Last question, and I'll get you out of here on this because I know you served a mission in Hawaii.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Which mission?
So when I was out, it was all the islands.
Oh,
So
it was all of them.
yes, sir. So I served on the Big Island, both Kona and Hilo side, and then I was in Hawaii. Yes, sir.
You can place your bet.
Aloha.
G up on our side, so we never pressed. Praying meetings every day, so we never stressed. Rockin' Royal, rockin' Navy. Know you with me. Let's get it, baby. Rockin' Royal, rockin' Navy.